All right. Hello, everyone. Good morning and welcome as you come in. I'm Roy Potter. Today is the 12th of May, 2020. And as you can see, my computer, I don't use a mouse, not the detachable type. I use the mouse on the computer itself because I like to just kind of keep it all there. But every once in a while, I'll touch it, and it's so sensitive that, as you saw, I brought up the map before I brought up the introduction plate. But anyway, good morning. As you come in, I've been discussing some things with a few of you this morning before we came on, and it looks like everything's up and running just fine. Um, if you see or hear a problem, let me know, and we'll try to fix it. Okay. And of course, I've got my standard. There it is, right there. I always check it to make sure that we got it right. So here's to everybody. Well, if you saw my recorded video from yesterday, I think Trey Smith and Monograph did an excellent job on a lot of things. One of them, of course, is the direction we're headed. And as you can see, I titled this, "They're Coming to Take Us Away, Haha." And that's exactly what's happening. I read this morning that the NIH is saying that there's going to have to be more than one vaccine. Well, how about no vaccines? That's the way it should be. No vaccines. Or at least not mandatory. If somebody wants a vaccine, they can go get it. Then they should be protected from anybody who's carrying the disease, theoretically, correct? But no, they're going to make it mandatory for everybody. It's going to be mandatory testing and then mandatory vaccines. And like I've said, I suspect that the tests themselves are not just tainted with the virus, but possibly nanotech particles, probably like a pre-op. When you go into operating room for surgery, they'll usually give you a pre-op medication, usually an injection of Darvon or something else. That was in my day. I'm not sure what they use now, but it's to kind of calm you down, and then they can administer the anesthetic. Well, that's kind of what I think the test kits are. They're kind of like the pre-op, maybe like a pre-vaccine. I'm not a medical doctor, but like I said, I brought all of this up with the Salk vaccine, the sugar cubes back in the 50s and the 60s, primarily the 60s. And so you can get a vaccine just by ingesting it. It's probably not as effective as directly into the bloodstream, but still, it's still there. So the NIH is pushing for more than one vaccine. President Trump is bragging about doing more testing than any other country in the world, as if that's something to brag about. He's really been led down the wrong path by Fauci and by Gates and by Birx and these others. Or, as I've said, he's complicit. I watch him now on these pressers, and frankly, I'm glad he comes down hard on the reporters, like that Asian reporter the other day. I think that was justified. But to keep going down this path and pretending like this virus is anything more than what it is bad, and it's destroying our country, it's destroying the world, just like they planned it to be. I'm not saying they won't release another one, of course. Maybe this is, just like Pompeo said, a live exercise to test their ability to react to a bioweapons attack. But we all know, I think, what the New World Order and what the deep state and the intelligence communities in China are really all about. And it's about, well, China admitted it. There was a Chinese general that said they want to take out 200 to 300 million Americans. Good way to do that would be an EMP attack, take down the grid, as I've talked about before. But there are a lot of ways they can do that. And as I said, China could lose 500 million people and they'd be happy about it. So this isn't a good situation that we're in. But at any rate, I just wanted to bring up the fact that we've got this problem with the testing and the vaccines, and Trump is on board 100%. He ought to turn his back on it and say, no, we're not going down this road anymore. We're going to stop. We don't need to do all this tracing. We don't need to do all this monitoring. But remember, he was the one that pushed for the surveillance on the red flag laws with Operation Guardian that Barr is doing now, and working with Microsoft and Facebook and Twitter and these other social platforms to monitor you to see if you might be a danger to yourself or others. So yeah, I'm coming down hard on Trump again. I saw where Mark Pantano said, I believe it was either yesterday or this morning, that it's obvious that Trump has lost his way. Well, I'm not sure he ever had his way, actually. It was always about the economy. It was never about the principles. And I've talked about all this before, so I won't beat a dead horse. How's the the sound this morning, by the way? Is it okay? Like I said, I've kind of got a different setup here, and I've placed the microphone over on the side for a lot of reasons. But if it sounds okay, we'll just keep going with it, okay? All right. I just wanted to bring up also a couple things because I sounded like I came down really, really hard on the science of immunology yesterday. And I didn't mean that as a science it's not a good science. My problem is the way that Gates and the pharmaceutical companies, the big pharma, and the governments push these vaccines with the adjuvants, and also they're not tailoring them to the specific individual. I think I've told you that I have a friend who's a doctor, an immunologist, and he's told me that no, the science is good. It's just the way big pharma delivers it is the problem. He'll take his patient, as I've explained before, do a physical on them, a workup, blood workup, all that, and then design a vaccine just for them. And I think it still has certain types of adjuvants in it, but he does not use thimerosal, for instance, which is mercury. That's one of the things he doesn't use. And I don't know what the other ingredients are, but the point is that this massive vaccination is what I have a problem with, and the fact that it's mandatory, and that's a problem. So it sounds good. Thanks, Christy Moon. I appreciate that, and anybody else who was saying that. Okay. The other thing I wanted to bring up real quick was I talked yesterday about my problem with the state of Israel. And the lady will know who she is. I'll just call her by her first name, Janet. And I don't know if she's on here by that name or not, but I'm sure she's listening. And I just want to let her know, because my position on how Israel came about, the state of Israel, and all the things surrounding it, doesn't mean that I don't think that Israel has a right to exist. That's not my issue, Janet. That's not my issue at all. If Jews want to go there, that's a good thing. There's nothing wrong with that. The problem is how it's viewed by evangelical Christians and how the Israeli government pushes that on to especially the American people, but Europeans as well. I don't get in arguments about the Holocaust or any of that. That doesn't really impact what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is that Israel is not in any way, shape, or form, in my estimation, what the Bible is talking about in the last days. It's not. It has to do with the law of God written in the hearts and minds of the people, and it's very clear about that. The whole idea about the third temple and all those things, those are interpolations missing the real point. But that's neither here nor there, Janet. All I want to tell you is fine, Israel has a right to exist. But so do a lot of other countries, which Israel seems to have a problem with. Okay? And I realize that and you're not going to like it when I say this, but I also realize it's the Herodian Jewish background that really runs Israel, just like they do Saudi Arabia. And I've talked about that before. But I'm with you that Israel has a right to exist. So I just wanted to bring that up so that you know that I'm clear on that, okay? I'm going to use this as a forum today. We're going to talk mostly about what I talked about yesterday with Trey Smith's presentation on the. It's not even a pagan deity. It really has its roots in Sumerian Anunnaki mythology and history. But regardless, these fallen angels and a lot of people say, I don't want to talk about that. Well, you need to understand it, at least from the point of view of the people that are opposing us, our adversaries, people like the Rothschilds or the Rockefellers, the Marina Abramovich type people, John Podesta, et cetera, et cetera. You need to at least understand it from their point of view, okay? Even if you don't want to go down that road yourself. And that's where we're going to primarily go today. But I just wanted to mention a couple of other things as well. First of all, David Knight had some really good information on Twitter this morning. I just want to read through it really quick. Now, David Knight is the very able and talented reporter on InfoWars. And this is what he was saying. Today's show live, 9 a.m. Eastern. He's talking about today, I think. Yes. Fauci begins second wave of fear to extend lockdown. Remember, we said they'd do that. When this thing started, I said, they're not going to let us go. Do you remember me saying that? They've got us under control now. They've got us by the short hairs. Why would they let up on us? They're not going to. And Trump is going along with it, pushing the testing, pushing the vaccines, everything I've talked about. So Trump has betrayed us in more ways than one. Let me keep going. HR 6666, I mentioned it yesterday, surveillance testing, arrest, and FEMA camps. Operation Warped, vaccine agenda, bipartisan eugenics. China meat exports soar as USA shelves empty. In other words, the Chinese meat industry is picking up because they've killed ours. And he brings up Clapper lied again. I just wanted to mention that because David Knight does such a good job. I also like Greg Reese on there, both of those guys, and even John Bound. Do excellent reports, better than I think anybody else there. And I think most of you would agree with me, but I wanted to bring that up so that I give David some accolades here. As I told you, my brother, who was the Army News Chief at the Pentagon for a long time, considered David Knight to be one of the best. Okay. Let's get on to a couple of other things. Trump keeps, I'm very happy. We don't know what Judge Sullivan is going to do yet, I don't think. That's the judge in the Michael Flynn case, General Michael Flynn case. I was listening to Judge Napolitano last night, and he said that Judge Sullivan has three options. He can do what the DOJ is asking. He can go ahead and sentence Flynn. And there was a third option. I don't recall what it was right now. But the point is, the judge hasn't, I guess, made a determination yet. It hasn't actually made a judgment. So I'm hoping that he'll do the right thing and accept the DOJ's request for dismissal, even though, he could use the argument, well, Flynn already pled guilty, but under the circumstances, he really needs to pull that. We'll see what happens. By the same token, we see all of this information that's coming out now that DNI Grinnell has forced Schiff to uncover, and also the unmasking information that he gave to Bill Barr that the Obama administration did to for political purposes, used our intelligence community for their political purposes. And it's very true. Trump was a victim in that, absolutely. But, and this is my point, he always just talks about himself. I think I've heard him say one time, and I brought this up several months ago, when he said something like, I think I finally figured out it's not just me they're after, it's you. Well, duh. How long have we been pointing that out? So, he's concentrating so much on this egocentric situation with the deep state having come after him. Yeah, okay. But he's not doing anything to keep them from coming after us. I mean, yeah, it's good that he's going after Brennan, if he actually does, Brennan, Clapper, Hayden, Comey, Strzok, Page, Kleinfest, I think that's us, Klein Smith. Anyway, that whole group on through down. It's like I said, they need to clean house down to even the clerks that helped to do this. Well, that's not going to happen. Barr's got to protect his institutions. Probably look at maybe half a dozen people they'll take down, maybe. We'll see. But the point is that while Trump complains about them coming after him, he refuses to see that Fauci and Gates and all this, along with all these horrible things that the FBI and the DOJ do to the American people, that they're still coming after us. And he won't stop it. So he's either stupid as hell, he's either as dumb as a post, or he's complicit. There isn't any in between. He's not taking the lead to stop this encroachments upon our Bill of Rights. Yeah, I know. Barr sent the letter out to the U.S. attorneys. Have you seen anything happen with that yet? Well, these things take time. They take time. While we have mothers getting arrested, people having their kids taken away, local governments and states saying they're going to come into your home and test you in there. If anybody's sick, they're going to remove that person. Under what other type of, any kind of an epidemic, any kind of a sickness have they ever done that by force? And is Trump going to stop it? No. I think I think we all know he's complicit in this by now, and I'm sorry, but that's the evidence. We can't look at it any other way. So I have this tweet from President Trump today. Spiral Bear, or Spiral Tech Bear, if you're here, I'm going to read your tweet, okay? All right. Trump said, Alexander Dadig, I guess is the guy's name. President Trump, U.S. will pass 10 million tests conducted this week. Like, that's something to be bragging about? We've lost our way, and he's lost his way, or he's losing it for us. They're coming to take us away, and he's not standing in the breach to stop it. But this is what he tweets back, President Trump, to this Alexandra Dadig. More than all other countries together. Oh, I'm so proud. Spiral Tech Bear wrote this back. I hope I have the whole thing here. Maybe I don't. I'm going to have to go back and get it. Hold on a second. Well, I'll just read it from here. He says, and that scares people. It's not encouraging. You clearly don't give a damn about the patriotic core of your base. And that's how I've seen it. That's how I've called it today. Okay, and then still he's talking. Trump is still talking about all of this with the coronavirus, with the Wuhan virus, and he's now really focusing on Obamagate too. But these two things, Obamagate, yeah, that's legitimate. We want to go after those bad people. That's very important, but that's not going to fix the country. What's going to kill us is this thing with, well, it'll help to fix things, but it's not going to fix it if our whole country dies with this idiocy around the Wuhan virus or any other thing like it. So this is what he tweeted this morning at about 6 a.m. I guess that was DC time, I'm not sure, but listen to this. This is President Trump. Remember this. Every governor who has sky-high approval on their handling of the coronavirus, and I am happy for them all, could in no way have gotten those numbers or had that success without me and the federal government's help. From ventilators, which we know aren't even good to use, to testing, we made it happen. I've had people call me a narcissist and some other names. I don't know anybody like this guy. His ego is so big, and in my opinion, and I'm insulting him here, I agree. On everything, he's about the dumbest son of a bitch I've ever seen in my life. I hate to say it. Oh, 4D chess and all that. Right. No, he's not protecting us in our Bill of Rights. He's not protecting us from an out-of-control government. No, he's not. As a matter of fact, he's facilitating them coming to take us away. I understand that Ezra Watnick Cohen, if you remember him, he's being brought back into the White House apparently. Or I guess he's rejoining the Pentagon. Anyway, Ezra Watnick Cohen was one of the people, along with Rich Higgins, that tried to warn President Trump of the coup. And I have a dirty, rotten feeling that President Trump really didn't want to know about that he wanted this thing to proceed just the way it did. And not to take the bad deep state down, although I would like that to have been his objective. But I think it had more to do with us feeling sorry for him while he completes the liberal leftist agenda under the cloak of, it's better to have me than have Hillary, right? But I think Ezra Cohen coming back is probably a good thing. I don't think Rich Higgins is going to be brought back in. But if you remember Ezra Watnick Cohen, he was really an important figure early on in the whole uncovering of the coup. Okay, those are just a few things I wanted to bring up. I'm not going to spend the whole morning bashing Trump, even though I think he deserves it, because really what good is it going to do us? We all can see that he's not pulling for us. He's pretending that he's concerned about this Wuhan virus and the bioweapons and all of that, when in reality he's opening up an invasion of our privacy. I had a young lady talk to me yesterday. I think she's watching. She'll know who she is. And she said, they're not vaccinating me. It's my body. And if they intrude on my body, that's a form of rape. Well, legally, that's not true, but I understand exactly what she's saying. They don't have a right to do this to us, even under the umbrella of public health, despite their statutes and their regulations and all that. No, they don't. If people want to get vaccinated, they can get vaccinated, and then they're protected, right? Fine, go. But you're not. You can't. The government can't force us to do it. And if they say they can, I think, ladies and gentlemen, we really do need to stand up a lot stronger than we have. Don't trust your police. There are a lot of good ones, but there are a lot of bad ones too. Most of them these days are not good. Military, I'm sorry, same thing. I know people don't want to hear that, but I'm sorry. All of those drills about the zombies, we're there, ladies and gentlemen, and guess who the zombies are? Us who don't want to take the vaccine. We're the zombies. This isn't going to go well. So they are coming, and we have nobody to help us but God. There is no man that's going to reach down and protect us. They're all worshiping Elon Musk and Eric Schmidt's AI, Bill Gates' AI, all those guys. They're worshiping the AI, and they're doing what the AI tells them to do. They have lost their love for humanity, and they now worship a soulless AI. Maybe with a human being, with a man with a chip in him that's linked into the AI. That still, I think, is going on. I still think that person is here controlling things now. I think it is in one person's control at this point. Trump almost looks scared. He looks frustrated, in one way. But he's never seized the initiative, as I've often talked about. Okay. Sorry about my pontificating. Let's go to your chat here and see what we got. And I'm going to just start where we are. I won't be able to hit everybody. I'm sorry. You gave Trump plenty of chances. Yes, I did. I think we all did. And he failed us miserably on every count. Yes. I didn't see who said that. It jumped too quick. Mr. Galaxy Man 57, I told you Trump was a snake. Okay, yeah, all right. Well, as I've been saying, I've given him the benefit of the doubt, okay? And that's only just. But he has proven that he's not for us. He's not for the American people. He's not for the Constitution or the Bill of Rights. And he's taken us down to be hauled away. That's what's happening. And he is behind it. And nobody else can... He could tell Fauci to go piss up a rope right now. And Birx and Gates. He should bring... Yeah, Lionel. I saw Lionel do this. I think I mentioned it already. Lionel said if he were president, if he were President Trump, he'd say, "Hey, Gates, come in here. I want to talk to you. Come in the Oval Office. Sit down. You're going to stop. You're going to stop this right now. You understand me? It all stops right now. And if it doesn't, you're going down. You might just disappear. You might just cease to exist. But you're going to stop right now." He won't. Nice try, Lionel. Okay. Yeah, I know. Well, that Miss K, that goes along with all of his other deep state appointees. Nothing's ever changed. He's brought more in than I think have ever been in there. It's the way it's looking to me now. Oh, yeah, let me mention this because Edelson James brought it up. Edelson James is one of my moderators. Oh, Headlines with a Voice. Hi, Nancy. Yeah, contact tracers. Yeah, Nancy, that's right. And they're nothing more than spies. They're Stasi by another name, of course. They're Infraguard by another name. They're the Communist Party, Politburo, and the political officers by another name, yes. Thank you for bringing that up, Nancy. Always appreciate you being here. Edelson James brought up that he is putting out information. If you went and watched monographs or any of these things that Monograph puts out, or Headlines with a Voice, or a lot of people, Edelson James apparently on his YouTube channel and probably on Twitter as well, has a lot of these documents that a lot of them are referring to. You notice I don't talk about documents much. Every once in a while I'll bring them up, like the White House, the presidential executive order on vaccines I talked about yesterday. But I don't usually post them. I usually just tell you where to go get them. But Edelson James is posting them with the links on the web. So I want to give him a little kudo this morning so you all will know where to go get some. And of course, Monograph puts them on there. Nancy on Headlines with a Voice does. And there are others. Brian from High Impact Vlogs does a really good job on that too, just so you know. Okay, I don't know if that's talking about me or Dana certificate at Tony Barbera. This guy likes to pretend like he knows something. I don't know if you're talking about me or not. And I'll let it go. Maybe my monitors will say bye bye to you. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, at least Louisa Chavez, how you doing? So you found out a couple of years ago that your brother-in-law is Infraguard. There are a lot of them. That's the way the Mossad works too. Infraguard, I don't know if they get paid, all of them. They consider themselves, like the little snitches, and that's what Nancy Morgan Hart. I thought that was pretty good. Snitches will get stitches. I like that. But yeah, Infraguard is very much like the Mossad is really very small. The Israeli intelligence service is very small, but they use people out in the world. They'll go and say, "Hey, we need you to do this for us." And normally it's not with pay, okay? But because of their, again, Janet, here we go again, their allegiance to Israel, they'll do as they're told. I knew one of these Mossad agents personally. He wasn't a Mossad agent, but he was used by Mossad. And once I found out, he knew I knew, and so we had some chats. And yes, they're out there, and they're all over. Well, so is Infraguard. They're being used the same way. I chased one down one day. I think I told you about that. Actually, I've done it several times. Okay, let's see what else we got here. Trolls receive 86s. Yes, Kung Flu. Oh, that's a good name. I like that. Yeah, trolls need to be 86. They're not contributing to the conversation at all. Look, I never said I was perfect, right? I never said that. I'm not 100% right about anything. But we need to discuss these things and realize that the enemy's coming for us, and we're not going to do it by not discussing it. And yes, I do know a lot. I was around in the military and the government, law enforcement for 28 years, plus other things that I've done. I've rubbed elbows with people in the CFR. Oh, I know a lot. I know a lot, but I'm not here to justify myself. Dane's certificate. Okay, Roy. Anyone who doesn't eat your words, Dana. I don't care if you don't. I don't care if you don't like what I say. All right. But don't just make an accusation. Tell me where I'm wrong. Say, okay, well, you were wrong about this. Don't just say I don't know what I'm talking about. Yeah, that's not an argument. That's not a reason. That's prejudice. That's name calling, a form of it. Okay, I'm done with you. I'm not going to address you anymore. Yeah, okay, now I see you're calling me fake. Hey, Edelson, will you throw Dana's certificate off of here, please? Well, you see who she is? Just throw her off. Or him, whoever it is. He or she, I don't care. Something wrong with that person. Oh, Diane Nolan, yes. So you watched Trey Smith's video last night on pandemic? Yeah. He does such great work. I have watched Trey Smith probably, I might be exaggerating here, but I think it's been at least 10 years. He knows a great deal. I don't think he's really into Hebrew that much, but he understands the nuances of Hebrew and the Greek, which is really all you need to look behind things and to understand the symbology and how to interpret things. And he does a very good job. I would recommend Trey Smith to all of you. Trey Smith at godinanutshell.com or Trey Smith on YouTube. He puts out these books and these CDs, these videos. The books are excellent. No, I don't have any. I probably ought to order some of them, especially this last group that he's done on Nimrod and the Anunnaki and the war with Noah, Noah's War and all that. I'm sure he's drawing from the Book of Enoch, the Book of Jasher, some other older non-canonical writings, but the Bible as well, and he just does an excellent job. So please go and listen to him, and of course Monograph, always Monograph. Okay, let's see. Trey Gowdy, yeah, Trey Gowdy is being outed now. Tucker Carlson got him really good, and so have a lot of people. Trey Gowdy's all mouth and no action, sort of like Lindsey Graham. He's they're both very much alike. Trey Gowdy has covered for the deep state just like Lindsey Graham has all of them. As a matter of fact, I saw where senior the senior Senate leader, McConnell, yesterday tweeted out that we need to have more surveillance. And I tweeted right back at him and I said, you are I think I called him a criminal and a lying POS and a police state agenda pushing prick. I didn't use those words, but something like that. These people just, they take these oaths and they mean nothing. And they stay in for how many years? 30, 40, 50 years. I remember when Orrin Hatch in Utah, he campaigned. This was like 74, I think, somewhere back there. He campaigned on term limits. The guy he was replacing had been in too long, and so Orrin Hatch was campaigning on term limits. And he just retired, 3 or 4 years ago? Wow. Yeah, no, those guys are all dirty. I like that. Mr. Galaxy Man 57, you all must brush up on the Lord's Prayer. You're going to need it. Yes, I agree. That's why I think that maybe Melania isn't really on board with any of this stuff. Somebody was saying she's a transvestite or transgender. I don't think so. No, I don't think so. Jack Kennedy. When we called out for another drink, the waiter brought a tray. Trey. That's funny. Yeah. We can't trust any of those people, and like I say, Trump isn't doing us any service right now. We're all in very, very great danger. That's why I hope that little thing in Malachi about Shemesh, the sun, interrupting, bringing healing on its wings, will do something to the electrical grid, which is their system of control of us. If they lose that, because they don't pray, they'll have their wicked demons that they go to, but they won't have any power if they lose this AI. They won't have a bit of it. All right. Yeah, Barn Door, you're right. Fauci, he's already doing it. He's taking the stage and he's stepping up the fear again already. Remember? Like I warned about, 2 months ago, they've got us and they're not going to want to let us go now. And Trump is going along with it. Either because he's stupid, he's complicit, whether he's willing, unwilling, wittingly, unwittingly, it doesn't matter. He's turned on us, and I think that's obvious. Again, I'm glad that Obamagate is in the news. I'm glad that these guys are going down. They need to, because they've been doing horrible things to Americans, just everyday Americans too. But that's not our only danger. The other danger is what Trump is pushing along with Fauci and Gates right now. Oh, good. Edelson James says, I am making a video to give solutions. Good, Edelson. I've run out of most solutions. The only thing that I know of as a solution now is that you've got to be independent as much as you can. You have to get close to God, however you want to view God, and just realize that you don't have the answers all on your own, and get prepared as best you can. I don't think any of us are going to make it through this thing very easily. Even if you have 10 years food supply and every weapon known to man and all that, it's still going to be tough. It's going to be tough, and they're making it tougher every day. Can you imagine? They're shutting down our meat production here, shutting down our economy, and now we're shipping in Chinese beef. Jeez. Oh, Trump's really on our side, man. He's really on our side. Edelson James says his solutions are simple. I'm going to be anxious to see those, Edelson. Like I said, I've kind of run out of them. Yeah, I think we are in phase 2, Glenn Ma. I think we are. I think they're just about ready to go to that. When they start coming into our homes, wanting to inspect us under the color of medical tyranny, medical regulations, we've already lost. Marty Lauderdale, I agree. Gowdy's no good. Yeah, we've already lost. They have no business coming to our homes whatsoever. And like I said, the vaccinations, fine. If people want to get them, go get them. But to invade your body with that stuff without your consent, no, 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 no. And Trump's right behind it. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, those of you who've wanted to follow him and look upon him as being something special. He played a good game. He fooled me at first, like some people have pointed out. You know, maybe they knew a little bit more about his background than I did. Like I didn't know that he had all those statues of the pagan gods in his in his house. And I have nothing particularly against pagans, but if they want to, force that on me, I'm not going to be happy about it, of course. But yeah, so I thought maybe he had, had a come to Jesus moment, so to speak, and had changed his tune. And I didn't hold anything against him about his relationships with women because, as far as I could discern from the information that was available, he didn't do anything that was really contrary to Scripture. I know people don't want to hear that, but that's just the facts. If you know the scriptural law, at least none. I couldn't tell that he broke any. So I gave him all those benefits, and look where he's taken us. He's taken us down. Now there's the bill, HR 6666. And where's Trump? He should be talking about it, saying, no way. You're right, Edelson James. He should be out there saying, no way. You just try to pass that. I'm going to veto it. No way is that going to get passed. And Fauci, you're going to call off the dogs on the American people. You're going to call them off. And you governors, yeah. And he wants to say how good the governors are doing, and it's all because of him. It's me. I did it. I did it. I did it. Okay, you want to take the blame, Trump? You got it, Mr. Trump. It's your fault that we're in this situation we're in. You just admitted it in your own words. And you're proud of it. How long have we been going here? Oh, only about 40 minutes. Wow, what do you know? Gen Eric, is that General Eric? I don't know. They don't mind ruining our lives, so we should return the favor. I agree. They hold all the money, all the guns, all the supplies, all the medicine, you get the idea. Remember, that's why I was at Bundy Ranch, because I saw what was going on even before Bundy Ranch occurred. I knew what it was about. And they would have turned that into another Waco or Ruby Ridge if they could have. They would have. And I was there to record it all if they did. Absolutely. Oh, that's a good question. Kevin's World of Prescott. Should we keep our 6-month doctor's appointments? Wow. You know, that's going to be a problem. And I think you know. And that's why a lot of people are dying at home right now, if you've been watching the reports. You know, they classify everything as a COVID-19 death now, right? Even if you had a cold or the flu 10 years ago, you're showing positive, right? These false positives. So now everybody that dies, they've upped the statistics, and I think we're at like 80,000 now, and probably half of those are not real COVID deaths. So a lot of people aren't going to the doctor. They aren't going to a hospital when they get sick because they're afraid of what the medical tyranny is going to do to them. So people are dying at home. Yeah. And they're right. I hate to say it, but if you go to the doctor now, it might be voluntary for a little while longer, but not very long. And the testing, I don't think, is going to be voluntary. So they'll give you that pre-op, as I explained a few minutes ago. Get you ready for the vaccine so the vaccine will take better. It's really what it is. It's what the test is. Yeah, Tom Hanks talking about the Great Reset. Yeah, I know. Yeah. I haven't watched a film of his in a long time. We need to get away from Hollywood. Yeah, yeah. Suicides are up. Yep. Yeah, I lost a good friend. I think it was Dan Bongino also that lost a good friend to suicide. Trump's not talking about that at all, is he? He did say, wow, we can't make the cure worse than the disease. But he is. He's definitely making it worse than the disease. People are dying from suicides because they can't support themselves or their families anymore. They're locked up in their homes. They can't go out and get sunshine in a lot of places, and if they do, they're harassed by the police and the military. Wow. I saw where Amazing Polly is talking about leaving Canada. You all know who Amazing Polly is? I follow her on Twitter. She puts out a lot of good information. It's not like I follow her religiously, but she was saying that with the way things are going in Canada, she's looking to go to another country. I don't know where that'd be. We're right behind Canada and a lot of that stuff. Okay, let's see who else has we got here. Yeah, Chris Kishart. Using quantum dots tattoos as the mark of the beast. I think that's exactly what this is, and I talked about it yesterday in my The Evil of Pan video that I put out yesterday. Yes, I'm certain that that's where this is going, and the fact that they're talking about doing the whole world. Wow. And he shall cause all, both small and great, bond and free, male and female, to receive a mark in their hand or in their foreheads, without which they cannot buy or sell or travel or eat or get medical services, go to the bank. I mean, I think we're not very long. I think we're going to see this thing rolled out a lot sooner than 2021. I think we're going to see it within the next 6 months. Monograph kind of pointed that out. He did a little timeline on some of the things that they're doing with this HR 6666 and other things, and he's saying it's going to bring us right up to about election time. Will there be an election? Well, our elections have been a sham for a long time, but there might be a big change this year. Regardless, again, we can't trust our politicians. I don't care who they are. We can't even trust Rand Paul. We have to take these steps on our own and be prepared for the consequences, because that's what the authorities like to say. You behave in this way, and you're going to suffer the consequences. Boy, some of the people I've heard say that, and then what they ended up doing. The people are the final voice. That's the way it's supposed to be. Yeah, Ali from he says, can I address the Seattle cop video? Well, I didn't look into it too deeply. Brian of High Impact Vlogs, and there was another one that was sent to me by a lady this morning who saw this other write-up. I didn't look into his background. I took him kind of at face value. A couple things he said, disturbed me, but I don't feel like I don't expect everybody to have it exactly right. I don't expect to have it exactly right. So I'm not. That's why when people say, you weren't exactly 100% right. Well, okay, who is? So I kind of looked at him, as if he was real, as if he's real. And I don't know if he is or not. I really don't know. Is it a psyop to scare other cops? Well, if they scare that easy, they shouldn't be wearing a badge and a gun. That's how I look at it. I stood up against a lot of people in authority, both in the police department and the military. When they want me to do something I didn't think was right, I'd tell them. As a matter of fact, I'm going to tell this story. I'm not going to tell you who it was. This was when I was on the police department. There was an accident, and I get out. I was the officer assigned to the case, and I got out there and found out that what happened was it was a road rage incident, and that this guy in this huge super truck pickup kept ramming this other car from behind, hurt the people inside, did a lot of damage. And apparently, I guess, was going to fist fight the guy. But as I recall, the driver was then hurt. So he kind of backed off, but he was waiting. And I got there, and I arrested him for reckless driving and attempted homicide and a couple of other things. He fought me. And fortunately, another officer arrived, and there was a pretty big dude, and we were able to subdue him. This is what cops are supposed to do, okay? Well, and again, I'm not going to point out who it was that told me to do it, but I get back to the station, the guy's in handcuffs, I'm taking his mugshot, etc., etc. And I have, I'll just say, a member of the command in the police department came over and said, I want you to release him. He's a friend of mine. We're going to cover for him. And I said no. That's just one example. Now I'm going to have, I hope, sometime It's probably going to be. I think he's retiring in early fall, middle to late fall, somewhere in there. An officer friend of mine that I've known for decades, and a lot of people think that I blow a lot of fairy tales when I talk about the things I've been involved in. Wait till you hear him tell the stories. Okay. Uh, so he has agreed to come on. He just can't do it yet because he doesn't want to cause any problem for his retirement. I understand. But yeah, he's going to come on. It's going to be a nightcap type thing if we're still around then, and we're gonna talk about old times, and you'll hear all the stories. I guess he even says today, and I'm not bragging. I guess I'm being kind of narcissistic now, egocentric, but he said I was the best cop that they had ever seen, and I did some crazy. I actually disarmed people who had weapons. I disarmed them barehandedly. I'm not lying to you. He'll tell you the stories. Yeah, a lot of those. Okay. I'm not going to slam Q today either. I just don't feel like going there. I've been out of that loop for a long time. Let's see what else we might have here. Well, if Trump read Sun Tzu, and I know he's bragged about that, he sure doesn't know how to apply it. I mean, the principles of war. Yeah, that's primarily from Clausewitz, but even under Sun Tzu, I mean, yeah, pretend like you back off, you back off. There's a point at which you can't do that anymore, and that point passed a long time ago. Again, I'm glad he's going to take down these Obamagate people. He probably won't get Obama, certainly not Hillary, and it's not going to stop those institutions, those federal bureaucracies from harassing U.S. citizens unless they also drop this immunity for federal officials and bring back, I think it's Title 10 of the Civil Rights Code, that they can be held personally responsible for when they violate people's rights. See, the U.S. attorney's got protection from that, and that's wrong. I know attorneys will say, well, we can't be harassed, but, well, I'm sorry, but, you're no better than the next person. You need to be subject to it. That's just the way it is. Victoria Laidlaw. Oh, yeah, talk is cheap. Let's see action. Okay. It's like I told another lady not too long ago, discretion is the better part of valor. There's a time to act. All right. We have no power, not really. We're supposed to. The people are supposed to, but the governments have usurped it from us to the point where we're having some difficulties. Okay. But you stand out there too soon, and you'll see why you don't walk into an ambush. And if you do, you better be prepared to fight your way out. And if you don't know how to, you're going to lose. So, be careful there, Laidlaw. Yeah, Tom Ferrar, Tally, I would say too, Trump has become a knee-jerk reactionary, emphasis on the word jerk. I hate to bash him, but he's proven he doesn't know what the hell he's doing or he's complicit. And I talk about that too much. Oh, Gloria Young. I believe Satan is going to eat Hillary Clinton. Uh, I wouldn't even wish that on Satan. Poor Bill. No wonder he was out running around, chasing skirts. I can't blame him a bit. Yeah, lawmakers are shorting stocks. Yeah, I know. And nobody does anything about it. Trump is a Kabbalist. Well, again, Dr. Savage 84, there's good Kabbalism and there's bad, just like there's good and bad in everything. I studied Kabbalah for a number of years. I use the understanding of the letters, the Hebrew letters, and the words and the spaces between the words and the numerical values and all that to help me to understand what the scripture is really saying. That's the true Kabbalah. It's not when you go out there and you use it to cast spells and those kinds of things, the Aleister Crowley stuff. Okay. So there's a good use for it and there's a bad use for it, just like there is everything else. As a matter of fact, we talked about how, it's kind of a difficult subject. We talked about the scripture in Isaiah where it talks about Lucifer falling from heaven. And the real name for Lucifer is bright star, son of the morning, and it's Hillel ben Shikar. But they used Lucifer because they didn't want to confuse that scripture with the scripture in Revelations where it calls Jesus the bright and morning star, right? They didn't want that confusion. Well, people don't understand that when the Luciferians read even the New Testament, they see two Christs. They believe that Jesus Christ is Lucifer. I don't know if you know that or not. Certain passages in the New Testament, they think, and I would have to agree with them, that that's actually Lucifer. Now, people are going to go absolutely out of their minds for me saying that. I'm just telling you what the Luciferians believe. They believe that when Jesus says that he is the bright star of the morning, that he in fact is Lucifer. That he was the one who caused man to fall in the Garden of Eden and then had to pay the price and then became the illuminator. And that's why you have to learn to rightly divide the Word of God. You have to know when the true God is talking, and it's the one that's going to say, I would that you would have life and that more abundantly. Not less, more. In every way. That's the true God. The other one that says they're going to take something from you, you're not going to be really what you are. I'm not talking about perfection, okay? I'm talking about changing who you are, changing what you were designed, created to be. That one you got to watch out for. And those mixtures are in those scriptures. Not so much in the Torah, the first 5 books of the Bible, not so much there. But anything that goes against those first 5 books in any great degree is suspect. And that includes the rest of the Tanakh being the whole Old Testament. The Nebiim are the prophets, the Ketuvim are the writings. An example of a Ketuvim would be Psalms, Proverbs, that kind of thing. The Nebiim, the prophets, would be like Isaiah, Jeremiah, Ezekiel, etc. Okay. Anything that doesn't go along with and I know people say, well, gee, what about, the sacrifices and what about, the zit and all this other stuff? Well, most of that was given to Israel, the actual 12 tribes. And I'm not going to get into a discussion of that here, but that's their mark. It's not necessarily yours. But that's another subject for another day. But the real Jesus did not contradict the Torah. He never did. As a matter of fact, he said if someone did so and taught others to do so, they would be the least in the kingdom of heaven. So that's how you know which Jesus is talking in the New Testament, one of the ways. Yeah. How do we avoid the vaccine? Man, sparkle, I don't know. God says if you take the mark, see if you're talking about it from a scriptural point of view, and I kind of have to do that here. It says that the beast shall make it so that he shall cause all to receive a mark in their hand or in their right hand or in their forehead. He shall cause them. And then it seems to say that all those who receive the mark will be cast in the lake of fire, right? God's not somebody who's going to hold judgment against you when you've been forced against your will. That's a caveat, I think, there. I will not willingly take it. But what happens if I'm out on the street and they grab me and throw me in the back of a white van, knock me out, and inject me with the mark? Is that my fault? Yeah, the evil beast caused me to receive it, but it was against my will. Oh, I'll fight it tooth and toenail. Somebody tries to do that to me, they're going to be in for a big fight. I've done it before and I'll do it again. But how do you keep from getting it? Just don't submit. Right now, it's still relatively easy to reject it at this point, but I think 4 to 6 months down the road, that's going to change. And then we're going to find out how bad it's going to be. And I'm not going to tell you how to avoid it. Everybody will have their own battle plan, so to speak, and that's probably a bad thing to say. your own operations that you're going to conduct to get out of the big cities or to head for the hills or go to grandma's house, whatever. You'll have to look at that based upon your own circumstances. Yeah, Edelson James, if you die in the name of Jesus, you shall live. I agree with that. Yeah, it says endure to the end. Yeah. Doesn't always make you feel fuzzy and warm and comfortable. Truth Seeker 69, Trump attended Fordham University, a Jesuit college. Yeah, I know. Yeah, there are some problems with that. No, okay. Somebody just said they thought they had a choice in taking the mark. I don't think they're going to give you a choice. I think it's going to come down to where because it says, okay, you might have a choice to not take it, but then you're not going to be able to buy, sell, travel, etc., etc. That's a trade-off. Are you willing to make it? Think about it. God bless you if you are going to reject it and not be able to buy or sell. How are you going to survive then? Black market? How long will it be before they figure out that you're involved in that? You see how they're closing this thing down? Black markets are going to spring up all over the place, but if they can't, Monograph talked about this, if they can't identify you with facial recognition, if you think you're going to be able to hide yourself, if somebody comes up and the facial recognition software doesn't know who it is, the AI has searched the database and they can't find you, guess what? You're going to get visited by the cops at the store if you're there. See, that Monograph's right about that. This is 1984 on steroids. Orwell's 1984 on steroids. Brave New World, all that. So yeah, you might have a choice, but then what's the alternative? Right. But I think that, they're going to force you to get it one way or the other. That doesn't mean you have to take it. I'm going to fight it tooth and toenail. Literally tooth and toenail. Yeah, good. Come out of Hermai Sheba. Contract law 101. Acceptance must be knowing, willing, and voluntary with full disclosure. Absolutely. Without full disclosure, thank you for bringing that. A contract is null and void. But, my friend, the government doesn't follow its own rules, its own laws. It considers itself above all the law. So you can use that argument, but they're not going to listen to you. I had a judge, and I've talked about this before, and this just came out again the other day with I don't know if it was the Flynn case or another one. It was a Supreme Court justice that was being cited, and I don't remember who was saying it. It was somebody I was listening to that you have to belligerently demand and defend your rights. A Supreme Court justice said that, and I've heard some other judges say that because that's what it calls for. You have to belligerently defend and demand your rights. But that doesn't mean they're going to allow it. They'll kill you, imprison you. We just have to understand that's where this is going. Elizabeth Burnett, I am sick of hearing about COVID. You, me too. They're really using it for, taking over. They never made these big deals about SARS, MERS, H1N1. They did come out with the swine flu thing, that whole deal. Mike Wallace of CBS, 60 Minutes, I guess, did a story about that many, many years ago. Talked about how bad it was that the government pushed it. We know. But you see, all of that's been forgotten now. Fauci is the spokesman. And Trump, this is why I have a problem with Trump again. He's got Fauci up there. He's got Birx up there. He's working with Gates. He's working with Eric Schmidt and with, what's the guy's name over Apple? Tim Cook. Working with Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg, etc., to track you. Sending out these contact tracing teams. Trump's betrayed us, sold us out. Gary Hines, thank you for saying good morning. I'm doing fine, thank you. I hope you're doing fine too. Yeah, right. Annie Oakley 777. Jesus said they hated me and they'll hate you. That's right. And I talked about that the other day, what Jesus went through. We can expect the same. Are we better than our master? Don't think I'm happy about that. Don't think I think that's a big shot thing to say. It's terrifying. Very good. Jack Kennedy, quoting Solzhenitsyn, to destroy a people, you must first sever their roots. Exactly. I've talked about that before. They are. That's part of what's going on with this Wuhan virus reaction. They're trying to keep people from each other, the masks, the social distancing, not having groups get together. All of this is to cut our relationships with others, to cut our roots with those people. They want to cut us off from our ancestors, and they want to cut us off from our posterity and each other presently. See, that's Satan's copycat from Malachi when God says, I will send you Elijah the prophet. In those days I will send you Elijah the prophet, who will turn the hearts of the fathers to the children and the children to the fathers, lest I come and smite the earth with a curse. You've heard me quote that how many times? And then God talks about that, he will leave the wicked with no roots or branches, which means no roots, no ancestors, no branches, no posterity. So Satan now is trying to implement God's judgment against the wicked, but Satan's trying to do it on the righteous, on the unknowing. You see how he copycats on all the wicked, evil things that these people do? Yeah, this is a Bolshevik takeover here. There's no doubt about it. Stalin used medical things to do it. Hitler used medical things to do it. Maoist. I mean, you can go on and on. Yep. How long have we been going? Oh, an hour and 2 minutes. Okay, I think we better wrap this up. Yeah, Diane B. Fauci said he's against opening up. I know, because it's like I said, and Trump's going to follow. And the governors, we have a good governor in South Dakota. There's some people are stroking the governor of Georgia. I see some problems with that. Abbott in Texas. They just need to just drop all this BS. But they're being threatened. Oh, one person might die. Really? Well, how many are dying because of your reaction to this virus? Yeah, Satan's going for the end game. Kelly Gillis, that's exactly what I've been saying. They've got us now. Why would they let us go? It'll be bloodshed before it's over with. And I'm not sure who the winner's going to be. I know ultimately God's going to have to step in because, as I said yesterday and several other times, God doesn't step in, no flesh would be saved. They'll turn us all into these silicon cyborgs or kill us. Yes. And that's not what God's plan is. At least I don't believe so. Okay. I want to thank everybody for coming. I know I kind of wanted to answer this a little bit more today on the chat. I was hoping we'd get a little bit more into the pandemic thing that Trey Smith put out. But maybe we're all kind of on the same sheet of music and we kind of understand what that is now. Again, go see Trey's presentation and yesterday's video where it's called The Evil of Pan. I try to use the old pronunciation, but at any rate, in the description box is a link to Trey Smith's pandemic video, and also in the description box from yesterday is the link to Monograph's subject matter that's really basically the same thing and just a little different viewpoint. So go view those. They're both about an hour a piece. Trey's is probably not quite an hour, maybe 40 minutes. Monographs is right at an hour, but it's well worth your time. So yesterday's video, The Evil of Pan, in the description box, 2 links, one to Trey Smith and one to Monograph. Thanks everybody for coming. Keep your eyes on the horizon, your ears to the ground. Our government's become our number one enemy. Our number one enemy. Keep your situational awareness on high, and make sure you're prepping, praying, and staying out of the way. You're not going to be able to stop what's coming. I know that's a cute phrase. Nothing will stop what's coming. Well, that's the case on this too. Maybe some people will go down in Obamagate. I sure hope so, because they were after us as well. But they're coming after us in these other ways. And that's not going to stop either. Nothing's going to stop that but God himself. All right, okay. Well, I guess it's time to leave here. Let's see if I can do this without screwing it up like I do so often, like I did at the beginning of this. Yeah, here we are. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next time, okay? Out here for now. Have a great day, if you can.